Am I for real on what? Right now, since you asked, I'm preparing the car for import. Yep, to distance. Alright, so the last thing this guy needs is wings. This is split wire, so Battle Force 5 actually. Okay. I feel like I could do better than that. What else can I use for wings? Oh, I know. Just use this guy. This isn't my car, by the way. This is modeled by Axel on the Discord server. So this is gonna do it for you, huh? It's gonna get you back on distance, huh? Yes. Yes, really, a cat. Is it that hard to believe? I've just got kind of a catty personality. Yes, Wayment, the cat meme. Here he is, brought to life. On the big screen at last. Okay, that may be a little bit too big. You know, I thought about making the weapon in the back deploy, but how would that work? I'm gonna have to look up like pictures. Aha. So that's what it's supposed to do. Maybe. I'll just do these wings for now, and then I can swap it out later. Not bad for like an impromptu on the spot kind of, you need wings right away sort of deal. Oh, by the way, is the audio synchronizing properly? Ooh. Never mind. Make the zoom better on the avatar? You mean like this? Is that better? Yeah, I could make this car recolorable. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to set the origin to the 3D cursor for everything here. Except for the wheels. and then we export as FBX. We export it somewhere in the Unity path, so wherever you've got Unity installed, that's where you want it to go. Split wire is what I'm going to call this folder here. I've got quite a few folders, as you can tell. So you want to make sure to check selected objects here, so you don't export the camera and whatever else you've got. I mean, it should work fine here, but better zoom the Battle Force 5. Well, it's too late. The cat's big now. Okay, remnants of my last project here. I'm just gonna take that off. So, first things first, you've got to find the files. Where are they? What was it called? Splitwire, right. I'm tired. SP. Yeah, there we go. Boop. There it is. Now it's on the drive thing, and you can see here there's a few areas that are transparent that ought not to be. What's going on there? Well, those are what are called flip normals. So if we tab back into Splitwire over here, we can tell that it's not supposed to do that. Why is it doing that? Well, we can tell that the normals aren't flipped here, so it's most likely just because it's an irregular face. So if we look at it, this is one face. It's made out of 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, it's non-planar geometry, which is a technical term for saying it's a face that's all bent and warped. So what we want to do to fix that is add a triangulate modifier. And that should do the trick. It'll look a little bit more triangular, but yeah, no big deal. Clip or beauty? Fixed alternative, maybe? Shortest diagonal. That's the one that looks the best. Yeah, let's go with this. So all of the normals are facing the right way here, as we can tell. Let's select everything again. It's important to note that you need to select everything every time you export, and then we just basically write over the file that we've already exported here. And we can see it kind of flashes, and then the holes disappear. Great. So next step, we've got Splitwire here. We can see the scale factor is 1. Now, it's not evident when you look at it at first, but there is a scale factor here of 100. So everything you see here is scaled to 100, which may not be a big deal. You might not think, but unfortunately, let me just make the cat small again a little bit. Whee! Unfortunately, this means that the car will deform like crazy once you get it into distance. So we need to fix that. So what we could do here is change the scale of the parent object to 0.01, which is 1/100th of what it should be. So that's the actual scale of the objects. So when you stretch things by that far, the deformation math that distance uses kind of gets weird. So let's go ahead and then you click on the original scale thing here, and then let's scale it up by about 80, because we want it to fill this box but not kind of overflow out of it. So I'd say that's perfect, 80 right here. So let's use this master parent body here to get it exactly where we want it to be, to get those wheels positioned just right. Perfect. Perfect. So we're going to go ahead and create an empty, name it Splitwire. Make sure the position, rotation, all zeros, and make sure the scale is 1. And then we're just going to go ahead and move everything onto SplitWire. Now we've got our game here, or our car here. So first thing you need to do after that on SplitWire is get rid of the mesh renderer here, and then add in a skinned mesh renderer under Add Component. Then you just remove mesh renderer, and you only need to do this on the main body because that's what it tells the game, that this is what you need to what needs to get deformed. Okay, so next we're going to go over materials. This doesn't quite look right. It looked much different in Blender, so we're going to go ahead and fix that. So I named everything so I could figure out what elements are what. Blue glow here. We need to set an albedo and an emission map. So albedo can be blue. You're going to need to import some images of just straight colors into your library here, and then once you've got them, you basically just drag them onto here and it creates the map. Or you can just search for them manually. So it doesn't quite look right, so I'll just go ahead and set that to white, and then the emission map should also be blue. So now it's glowing, albeit very subtly. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave that as it is. Main body orange. See, that's not set right. We're going to leave this as white. So I'm just going to go ahead and change this to white, the white texture I've got here. And it's very important that you actually change it to something that's got an albedo map, because this is what shows up in distance. So whether it's this or this or this or this, whatever actual like bitmap you've got as far as colors and all that, that's what shows up in distance. So I'm just going to go ahead and the hood, I am just going to set that to white as well, and you'll see why in a bit here. So glass, so I'm going to set glass back to Windows. Let's use the PowerAge Windows. Let's check, yep, we've got an albedo there. Okay, so metal is already set. Let's do black glossy. Okay, let's do this. Is I've already got set as a black albedo map. So now it's looking a little bit more like we're used to it being. So brake lights, I've got an emissive red here called pin that I'm going to use right here. And so that's most of the work. You just got to make sure that it carried over. Set an albedo map there. Tire. So tire on both of these. Set that to black. Then the reactor, okay. So now we've got the car set up how we want it. Now, how do we import it in a state that the game can read it? All right. Well, the way we do that is by creating these 4 objects here for the wheels. That's the first step. So we do front right wheel, front left wheel, back right wheel, and then back left wheel. And these objects have to have the properties that you see here in the main scene file. This is basically just kind of like a guide so everything is positioned properly. So I keep a few here so I can just copy, paste them in. And then front left wheel into front left, front right wheel into front right, rear left into back left, rear right into back right. And then once they're all in, you just rename them tire, because otherwise they're not recognized as tire objects and they don't spin properly. Okay, and so that's most of the work here. So I'm going to import this a couple of times so you can kind of see what I'm doing here and see some of the common things you can get wrong. So as it stands right now, this will import and it will read correctly. So we can just go ahead and push it over here. And then you need to create a new namespace right over here. Call it splitwire. And then once that's done, you can right-click, then build asset bundle. And the first time you try that, it'll take quite a while for it to process. So just chill out and wait for it to do its thing. And then next comes the fun part, the troubleshooting. Because first time you import it, usually one or two things go wrong. So we haven't set up anything with wing animations yet. We haven't set up any of the materials. We're just getting the car into the game. And it's still exporting. You can't see it because it's not doing anything, but that's just because the Unity client has frozen. Which well, I don't know if it's normal, but for me, it does that every time I try and export something. There we go. This is finally got that little green loading bar. Alright, so I'm just going to let it do its thing before. Version of Unity is 5.5.5. There we go. And so eventually this will show up and then it'll do its thing. Just let it run. And as long as you keep Unity open, it won't take nearly as long the first time. That's the good news. It'll take a while. Usually when I'm doing this and I'm not streaming, I'll just like switch tabs to Reddit or something, or like grab a snack or something. Because it's basically got to pack all the data into like one file that's readable by Unity. Oh no. An imposter? Tell me more. Well, anyway, that'll take a while. And once it's finished, you will find the file in here. These are all the files I've ever exported. There we go. It's finally done. Maybe. Okay, yeah, it's finally done. So you're going to find Splitwire in the assets file. So This is going to be your car assets within your Unity project. It should look something like that. So you're going to find it in your asset bundles here. So Splitwire is the asset bundle. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy that and then move over to my distance assets, which is a completely different file path, although they're both called assets, and then paste it in there. And then we're going to go ahead and start distance. Distance. Okay, so let's go ahead and find Splitwire. There it is. Now, do we notice anything off about it? It's the tires. Look at those tires. Those are way shinier than tires should be. That's about it, actually. Other than that, everything else looks fine. Oh, also it's clipping through the ground, so we might want to raise that a little bit. So we go ahead and import it the first time and then learn from our mistakes and try again. So, first things first. Raise it off the ground a bit. There or so, I think should be good. Wheels pop out a little bit, not a whole lot. So in order to fix the tires being shiny, we're going to need to assign a material. That material is going to be... Alright, so first we find the element. This is element 0. That's where the tire is. So we do hash mat for material, semicolon 0, semicolon car paint. Car paint is a matte, no pun intended, it's a matte material that the game uses. So let's go ahead, once we assign these materials, we need to hit apply. They'll all turn blue, which means it's been applied. So we hit build asset bundles. It'll take much less time this time. Much swifter. So we can just go ahead and hit back, copy, Control C that again, and then paste it, replace file in that destination, and then start up distance and see what we've done. You want the commissioned reverb, You'll have to get it from me. Okay, so as you can see, assigning it the matte material completely got rid of all of the reflections, right? So we've got a few more things left. We've got to give it some boost jets. I'm going to just do one giant jet like right here. And then we've got to give it wing animations. But as it stands, the way we've got it set up, it should work. You see, lifting the car up means that when you use grip, it doesn't go all the way down, but it's not quite lifted far enough. I'm going to just lift a little bit further so it doesn't clip through the car like that. But we've got no boost jets, we've got no rotation jets, and no wings, so it's just kind of, floating right now. I'll fix that in a little bit here. The wings spin and they turn like they should. That's mostly just because they're in the right place. Yeah, that's about right. Well, it depends on how detailed you want the interior. I'll mostly just give like kind of updated quotes as the project goes along. If you want something super detailed, like there actually is a black cat. Hold on just a second. It's almost exactly what I meant. Okay, well, getting back to the topic at hand. I might. I might just add it to Patreon. Okay, so for the reactor, black glossy, that's still going to be reflective, so we don't need to mess with the material there. But for split wire here, what we want to do is, so we're going to need to set a few color changers here. We don't want to assign any of these matte. They look like they're all good here, except for black tire. But that's element 4. So let's go ahead, Shift Alt N, hash matte hash 4 hash matte semicolon 4 semicolon car paint. And that should be that as far as those things go. Okay, so we're going to need a color changer for element 0, a color changer for element 1. So we want element 0 to be, do hash color semicolon 0 semicolon primary semicolon color semicolon 1 semicolon false. So I'll tell you what these mean. So this is just saying that it's a color changing tag right here. This is the material that it applies to, which is the base paint. And then this is the color layer in distance that it goes to. This is what is being recolored. You can have just the color, that's the RGB value. And then you could have reflect color, you could have spec color, and you can have emit color. This is how much it affects, like the RGB, how much the RGB filter affects the car in distance. If you have it at 1, it's basically it just copies the RGB value right on top of it. And false is just whether or not it supports alpha, which this does not. So that's the color changer right here. And so let's not get carried away. Let's do that first. Apply, right click, build asset bundles. And so now the black material on split wire is matte or matte, and the main colors and the main paint is recolorable. So let's just copy that over and right click and then launch distance again. I've been noticing that the game volume is really, really quiet in all of my recent streams. Is the game volume a little bit better here? Ames, wow, I'm surprised to see someone from Twitch. Nobody usually ever watches these on Twitch, but now you can see you can just recolor that, slide it right over. Black, red, green, whatever you prefer. And it just comes right across. So next thing, volume good, excellent. So next thing, let's just set that as red, a bit more of a orangish red here. Well, it should be exported well before that. Okay, so now we've got kind of the basics of the color thing here. Let's copy and paste that for, okay, so we want one for the hood and we want one for the glow. So let's change this to an emissive white, and I'll show you why in a minute here. So let's go ahead and get color changers for all the glow. So the glow on this one is layer 2. I'm going to do 2 here, then change this from primary to glow, and then change this from color to emit color, change this from false to true, since that is an alpha channel, since it's a glow. And then right here, right here, right here, and right here. We just double check that it is 2. It's not anymore, it's 1. So we got to go through these, and then we've got to change that from 2 to 1. And then put it on the reactor as well, since that's got some glow. And it is element 1 here as well. We can change that to 1. There we go. Hit apply, right click, build asset bundles. We're still waiting on Octanium? Yeah, we don't have Octanium yet. This car isn't a commission. This is Axle's split wire. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and copy that over the one that we've got, and then let's launch distance again. I think I've got pictures for Octanium already. Just a matter of sitting down and making it. College assignments are keeping me busy this semester, so I work on stuff when I got time. Alright, here we go. So, looks like everything worked. Got the glow. Set it as any color we want. Brighter, dimmer. All works. And so last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to set this like middle stripe hood thing as the secondary color, and then I'm going to move on to the wings, the boost jets, etc. There's one thing here. These little triangles for the wings, they're not recoloring like the rest of it. I'm going to go ahead and change that. So I'm just going to go ahead and add on the wings here, main body orange. So we're just going to go ahead and add a color changer. Go ahead and change that to 1, or actually 0. But that's the wrong one. It's got to be the main color changer. So this one right here. Right there. Alright, now these change the same as the rest of everything else does. Okay. Where are we? Try black and red. Yep, got to get that edgy color palette. So why don't we try making the windows recolorable? And I'll show you why it's very important that if you want something to be recolorable, it has to be white. So let's go ahead and make the windows recolorable. Right here, power age windows. So that's element 3. So I'm just going to change this to 3. This is just going to be recolorable along with everything else. So let's go ahead and export that real quick. Since I got so many custom cars, it takes a bit to load. But, alright, here we go. So now the windows are recolorable as well, except what's going on here? We've got this colored as orange, but these windows are kind of a dirty green. Alright, well, let's make this yellow and see what happens. Bright yellow. Again, kind of a dirty green. Let's make this a red. What's this? They're just kind of a bluish purple. If you turn it white, you see they're their natural shade, right? But as it gets further and further to a shade that's non-white, you can see that it just kind of mixes and it tints it. Now it's more of like a blackish blue. Alright, well, what happens if it's blue? Not much. It's already blue, so the tint just kind of falls on top of it. So you see what I'm saying? You don't have a full color range, except for whites and blacks, if something has a color and you're making it recolorable. So that's why it's important, if something is going to be recolorable, that you make it white, because otherwise you don't have a full kind of color range of expression. You can't go red. That's it. You know, you've just got blue and green. You can't go red because it just mixes and clashes too much. And even when you're green, it's just kind of a different, like, weird shade of green. So let's go ahead and undo that, since we've determined that we do not want to make these windows recolorable. So let's go ahead and delete that. Okay, so now we want to include a boost jet right here. So let's go ahead and Shift Alt N to make a child game object, and then let's do boost jet, capital B, capital J. Now we've got our boost jet object here, so we can use, we can just rotate this object, so W, E, and R for the different gizmos, for scaling, for movement, etc. In the little green arrow, that's the direction the boost jet's going to be pointing. So we can use these orthographic perspectives up here to kind of position it where we want it to be. That's just a regular size boost jet right now. I want it to be about 2 times its size. So I'm going to increase all these size values here. And that's it. That's all I'm going to do for right now. Oh, one last thing I'm going to do. I'm going to make this hood recolorable as a secondary object. So it's going to be the same setup as here, except different material, different garage layer. And that's it. So we're just going to make sure we hit apply, then all these changes filter down to this object right here, and this is where we export it, so that's very important. So then let's go ahead and replace the file here, import it into distance. And just chill while my game loads. Oh, why am I wearing headphones? I don't have anything playing right now. Oh, that's much better. Okay, so now everything is as it was, except now we've got a boost jet coming out the back. Let's go ahead and see what that looks like. That's what a boost jet looks like at about 2 times the size. I feel like that's pretty decent. So I'm gonna leave that there. And see how this deformation math is working? Like when you grind up against something, how it kind of wears the body down. So that's deforming as it should, which is good, because if we hadn't had, what was I talking about? If we didn't mess with the scale, then it would have just like erased whole chunks at a time. I probably should have done that first to show you what it looks like. Okay. Next thing, we've got all the materials and everything being recolored. Got all that set up right. So all that's left are the wings. So we hit right click, create, and then we're going to create animation. Wings open. We would also create an animation called base animation, but I've already got a bunch, so I'm not going to be doing that. It's the same situation though. You're just gonna go ahead and create another one called base animation. The capitalization here is important, I should note. If the W isn't capitalized, I'm pretty sure it's not going to work. So then you go ahead and click these, hit debug, then click legacy, and then click back to normal. It's very important that you do that. So let me go back to the parent object right over here, hit add component, animation. We want to include the move the size to 2, because the first one always has to be the base animation. And then we've got wings open, but it's very important that we find this one. So I'm just going to go down until it comes across split wire. Right here, that's the one. Okay, then we hit animation, go down to wings open, right? And then 30 is when the animation's at full. So I'm just going to go ahead and move this out to here. Perfect. So I'm just going to copy that, or well, might not. Might just do this one manually as well. That's about right. Yep. And that's the whole thing. That's really all you got to do, and then it'll interpolate unless it's like some sort of rotation. It'll just interpolate and then play automatically. And then you hit the record button to turn off the recording. Hit project again to go back to where you were, and then I'm going to do one last thing here. I'm going to go ahead and make this not visible anymore, and I'm going to Shift-Alt-N. I'm going to make a wing trail game object for this wing. And so I'm just going to go ahead and put that like right at the tip here. And so this will leave a trail as it goes. So then I'm just going to copy that, move it over here, and then make the X value negative. So it'll just mirror it right across the X-axis. So it's important before we export, we've got to check this again, because if we don't, then it won't come through. Okay, so now we've got wing animations, we've got boost, we've got everything recolorable and everything assigned to the material we want it to be. One last thing, before we export, we've got to Shift-Alt-N, and then we've got to have a child object in the main kind of directory here. That's #blend. That's just the type of animation it uses. If you don't have that, then the wings will literally just run away from you. Alright, got that exported. Export it into distance. So here we are. Alright, here we go. Let's go into Garage. We've got our secondary. Let's make sure that's working. Yep. Secondary color is working just as anticipated. Full edgy color scheme. Let's actually turn it down a little bit so you can see the glow like you're supposed to be able to. And then let's give it a test here. Loads in real nice. Jump, wings. Perfect. I dare say that is about finished. There's one last thing I'd like to do though. I would like to add some jets to the bottom. Now I'm not going to be talking about how to do this a whole lot, but in a nutshell, this is what you got to do. So I've got some wing jet objects in here. I'm just going to copy those, paste them right in. It doesn't matter that they're all named the way they are. Important thing is they are positioned correctly. Right at the bottom. Speaking of, I'm going to go ahead and move that up a little bit more. Perfect. And so then let's go over here. Push it up so it's just touching the bottom here. Then we want to find bottom two, the top two here. Let's go ahead and deselect this base scene so we can see what we're doing. Right here. And then right here. Actually, let's put those right here. It's here and then here. Push that out to like maybe here. And take that X value and mirror it. That negative here. So those are where the four boost jets are going to be. So in order for these boost jets to work right and to look right, actually let's go ahead and let's push this a little bit further back. In order for them to look right and to work right, they've got to have some child properties here. So obviously these are mirrored, but they've got to have direction child objects. And that basically tells you where they go on the body. So there's directions for here, for here, for here, for here, for here, and for here. And I basically took those and reversed them. And that's how I got that. It's kind of complex and finicky, and I'm not going to be getting into it right now. But there we go. So then we apply, right-click, build asset bundles, and then export it once again. Any other questions before I finish up here? Oh man, my eyes are red. When my eyes start to itch, I start thinking about like the blood vessels in my eyes like bursting. They just explode, and that's why my eyes are itching. It's because there's blood escaping the capillaries inside them. That's basically it. The main, tough things to get right are the proportions, the scaling. It's just like a bunch of really, really small things. Textures would work the same. You just set an albedo map. See, I'm using albedo maps here, but they're just plain color albedo maps. And so as you can see now, I've got jets on the bottom. In fact, I think last minute, I'm just going to go ahead and edit this real quick. Whoops. I forgot I had that bound to F4. So every time I use Alt F4 to kill a program, it does that. Should probably change that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and Well, maybe I'll just leave it like it is. Yeah, maybe I'll just leave it like it is. Well, that's it. I was gonna add some more geometry to the bottom here to kind of move that up a little bit, but that would take too long, so not doing that tonight. Any other questions? Just gonna chill out in case I get some. Alright, well, I'm going to assume no questions. I'm just going to go ahead and bring the stream to an end. If you are curious about anything else, or if you want to get in touch with me personally for like a commissioning project, or yeah, I suppose I could edit out all the parts where we're just kind of, you know, twiddling our thumbs and then re-upload this as a video. Yeah. Alright, I guess I'll see you later.